In the previous example, we did study main method and different types of variables. In today's tutorial, we'll understand classes, how to create objects and different types of vars. So let's begin. The class, what is class? Classes are blueprints for creating the objects. So what do you mean by blueprint? Blueprint is nothing but a reference. By using that reference, we can create an actual object out of it. So on the left hand side, you can see we have a blueprint for a house. How my house should look like, how many bedrooms should be there, kitchen, and how the layout should be. So this is the reference for you. You cannot go and reside inside that blueprint. So for that you have to create an object. An actual house should be constructed. So that actual house is nothing but an object. So how do you create that object? For creating an object, we have a constructors, a special method. If we go by definition, construct is a special method and used to create and initialize an object. So we'll see. If you see this example, house is a class and it's a reference. So we have to create an object of it. So here I'll create an object of house class. So constructor is called and a house class object is constructed. And second, if you see, it's initialize an object of a class. So what does it, in the second example, if you see, we are passing the values 4 and blue. 4 is nothing but rooms and blue is a color. So we can use constructor to initialize the values. So if that part is clear, let's move to the methods. What are the methods? Now, as we have taken the example of house, there can be multiple methods that we have to use with the house, like painting, we have to rent the house, or you have to decorate it. So there are some values that it has to be used. So these are the params. If we consider a paint example, I want to paint my house. So what type of color we'll be using? So we'll pass it as a params. So whatever method takes in the curly braces, it is a param. So there are two types of params in Flutter, in Dart, sorry. So it's a positional params. As it suggests positional params, position matters here. So let's go to the example. We have created a class house and it has some variables. Owner, integer, how many rooms will be there, and what type of color. So if I see this house constructor now, in the braces, I can see this dot owner and room. The first position taken by the owner and second by room. And if you see the third, color, it is an optional one. What you see in the square bracket is an optional value. If you don't send it, by default that value will be considered. Now check the show details method. It is printing owner's name, owner owns how many rooms, and it paints color. It paints house in which color. So if I go to this main method, house 1, I created an object of house and I am passing first name as Amit because position matters here, and second is the rooms. So I pass 3. I didn't pass any value for the color, but it uses a default color, that is white. So take a second example, house 2. Here owner is Neha, rooms are 4. But for this time, I am passing an actual blue value. I am not using a default value. So if I see the output, Amit owns 3 room BHK, Neha owns 4 room, painted with blue. But suppose what happens if I interchange owner with a color? What happens? Blue owns a 4 room house painted by Neha. So it's ambiguous message, and if it has something to do with the actual integer values, so it could be a bigger trouble, and it is very difficult to figure out the problems at runtime because it don't throw any error. So what should we do? We should go for the positional parameter. We should go for the named parameters because positional parameters are order sensitive, and that's why we go for the named parameters. So what are the named parameters? If you see this same example, owner is there, rooms and colors. Here I have used a curly braces. So the curly braces denotes a named parameters, and if you see, I have used a required keyword. The required keyword tells that value is required. You cannot bypass this. And third one is an optional one with a default value. Whenever you are creating an optional parameters, there has to be a default value. So if I go to this example now, house owner Amit, rooms 3, and still uses default color. But here I am passing the actual variables. And second example is house 2. There is Neha and there are room 4s. And now I am passing color as blue. If you consider with this, compare with the positional parameters, we are passing the actual values. If I compare with this, I am directly passing the values. I am not using any parameters. So it would be pretty ambiguous if there are too many values to be passed. So benefits of named param or positional parameters. First of all, order doesn't matter because we are calling the parameters by using name. It's easy to read and maintain. Suppose there are in your params you have to send 10 values. So it's very difficult. If somebody uses your code, there might be chances of passing wrong values. It's better for longer and flexible input. Please do like, share and subscribe, and if you have any doubts, please do comment.